Hello, I am Dilip Sharma. At the start itself, let me begin with a clarification. In this talk with you, I am not going to talk about only how to be quote unquote successful in your career. I wish you to be happy. Happy about yourself, content, passionate with the slow pace to life's goal, and not to get restless. Instead of looking at the benefits, if you start enjoying the journey to the goal, many things would fall into place. Have faith in yourself. Have faith that help is very near, just round the corner. Leadership development is basically to improve yourself, cutting across different disciplines. You need to improve of generic and core values or qualities. For example, focus, perseverance, deferring gratification, empathy, etc. So let's get going on our journey in leadership or rather developing self. Through these lectures, I am addressing any young or not so young person in general and especially from Northeast India. Any young person who wishes to self-improve, student about to embark on a professional journey, professionals looking for a job, wishing to change job, wish to do better in the job, doing small businesses, about to start a business, social activists, young political leaders, writers, poets, artists, filmmakers, young homemakers. It would hopefully also be useful for anyone who wishes to start a second innings in their lives. All lifestyle, motivational, management authors or speakers would talk about having a goal in life. No doubt it is important. But is it possible to set a goal in life? In Paulo Coelho's Alchemist, the shepherd boy in Spain, Santiago, had a recurring dream of treasure near the pyramids, and he set out on a journey to search for it. But Hermann Hesse's Siddhartha, a young person at the time of Gautama Buddha, didn't know what exactly he was looking for, but was restless. He always had a sense of non-fulfillment. And this non-fulfillment of his heart's desire led him to be with different persons, the yogis, merchant, a courtesan, and finally with a ferryman who ferried people across the river. Towards the last part of his journey, he sensed his life's goal. There is more to these stories that I wish to narrate to you. And so, let us explore together whether we can derive some lessons that would help you in your life, in your careers, in your love or family life. Even just to find out what you really want. I'd like to do this in 3 or 4 talks, traveling through the stories from these 2 books. In today's talk, let us go briefly with Santiago's story in Alchemist till the halfway through his journey and see what 7 lessons we can draw that are likely to help us in developing ourselves and equipping us to engage in our life journey in better ways. The story starts at a village in Andalusia of Spain. Santiago wanted to know the world and wanted to travel. It was more important to him than knowing God or people's sins. But to travel, one needed money, and the only poor who traveled were the shepherds. So he didn't become a priest, even though he was studying scriptures till the age of 16. For a farm family like his, it was a matter of pride to have their son become a priest. But he didn't want to become a priest. He instead decided to become a shepherd. This is our first lesson. Don't be conditioned by what other people think. Pursue what you love to do, but be pragmatic. Our shepherd was not conditioned by what the people thought as a good vocation. Later in his journey, he would come across more people who wished to do something but did something else. Like the baker in the town of Tarifa, who wanted to become a shepherd and travel, but became a baker as it was regarded as a more respectable job. And more fathers were ready to marry their daughters to a baker rather than to a shepherd. He married a beautiful woman, but now they are not happy because the baker is unsatisfied soul. Keeps on thinking, had I had done that, if only this would have happened like this, etc. Santiago wished to travel, but travel needed money. He found a via media. He combined his love for travel with a vocation that would allow him to travel. He became a shepherd. For next 2 years, he traveled through the Andalusian terrain with his sheep. Then one day he arrived at an abandoned church. He decided to take shelter there for the night with his flock of sheep. It was a run-down church where you can see the stars through the broken roof. When he woke up, it was still dark. He dreamt the same dream he had a week before. The dream. He saw in his dream a child took him by hand and transported him to the Egyptian pyramids and said, "If you come here, you'll find hidden treasure." Both the times, as the child was about to show him the location, he woke up. I can tell you from the twists and turns of my life that when a turning point in your life is about to happen, someone, maybe a known person, maybe a stranger, appears. He or she always appears. In case of Santiago, our shepherd boy, an old man, a stranger, who said he was the king of Salem, reached out to him as he was sitting on the park bench and trying to read a book. I have a question here for you. Are you going to welcome such a stranger or try to avoid him or her? Worse still, are you going to be rude to him? Our shepherd boy also tried to avoid the old man, but he was not rude as his parents taught him to respect our elderly. The old man said the book he was reading said the same thing that all other books said about people's inability to choose their life's goal. Though Paulo Coelho used the word destiny, let us replace it with life's goal. Well, the old man was saying the book said what all others said, that people can't choose their life's goal. It is given. But the old man added, it is the world's greatest lie. The old man said, it is this, that we think at a certain point of life, we lose control of what is happening to us, and our lives are controlled by fate. This is the greatest lie. When assistance, guidance, mentoring appears during your turning point, you must be able to see it. Keep yourself aware of your surroundings. When someone reaches out, don't avoid them. Or worse, don't be rude to them. You never know where assistance, guidance, or wisdom comes from. Let me tell you a story from the Vedic time here. The disciple was the smartest, and the guru was the most famous and revered teacher. At the end of the tenure, the disciple wanted to learn more, but the guru said he had taught him all he knew. Then he said, if you wish to learn more, then you'll have to go to the other end of the town to the butcher. He can teach you more. The disciple was not convinced. Me, disciple of a famous guru? What can I learn from a mere butcher? The guru said, don't judge a person by his or her looks, societal position, or his or her vocation. That is his or her livelihood. It doesn't determine what wisdom the person can offer you. The second lesson is, be aware of what is happening around you. Be humble. Don't be judgmental. Be ready to learn from anyone. At this point of the story, there is another lesson which is being built up. That is to have faith in yourself. Don't lose control over your life. And experiences shows that when you and your goal is very near, you give up. Many lifestyle or leadership gurus say that to overcome this, one needs to have perseverance. But I am inclined to look at the whole thing little differently. Perseverance is at superficial level. The core of perseverance is faith in yourself. Please don't lose it and don't give up. We'll deal with this towards the last part of this particular conversation. Now back to the story. Enquiring more about him, the old man from Salem asked him how many sheep he had, to which Santiago replied, enough. Then we have got a problem, the old man said. I can't help you if you feel you have enough sheep. We can't think that what we have achieved is enough. I am not saying this only in material terms. It can be quality of work you do, books you have read, movies, dramas you have watched, music you have listened, places you have traveled, people you have interacted with, people touched by your work. You need to be hungry for more. Expand your horizons. When I say hungry for more, you need to focus on quality of work. You should be proud of your output and strive to produce the best. Not just look at the money, fame, perks that come with your work. So this is our third lesson. The moment you say, I have enough, you stop living. You're dead, at least emotionally. And the dead can't trade anything. The old man who approached him asked him 1/10 of his flock of sheep and said that then he would tell him about the hidden treasure. Santiago reluctantly agreed. Our shepherd boy also had to sell his flock to cross the sea from Spain to Africa and go to the pyramids in Egypt. But the idea frightened him. He, over the years, had become attached to his flock of sheep. This had also been his world. How could he jump into uncertainty? But he had to choose between what he is accustomed to and what he now desired. He left his parents, his village, and they are used to it now, and his sheep would also manage. He could see Africa across the sea, and the wind began to pick up. People call it lavender. It also brought him the smell of desert, and could feel freedom in the wind, he decided to give up what he had. This is the fourth lesson. Everything has a price. In order to get something, even an advice, you have to pay up or give up something. And you have to come out of your comfort zone to pursue your dream, your destiny, your life's goal. But my advice to you is that first be sure that it is the dream you want to pursue. This is what you truly love. Santiago crossed the sea and then realized that he overlooked a fact. He didn't know the only language spoken in that country, Arabic. As he reached Tangiers and was sitting in a bar, just like any other bar dotted the street, he saw unfamiliar scenes. Men passing on the smoking pipe of the hookah, women walking with their faces covered. When a priest chanted from the top of the tower, everyone knelt down to pray. Factories of the infidels, he thought. But our shepherd boy actually learned this lesson much later, that there is no quote-unquote other. People who are different from your habits, rituals, culture, way of life. The concept of other is only in your mind. In life, you seek or get help from anyone, even from people who are different from you. If you wish to travel through your life to your life's goal, you need to open to people who are different from you. This is what we call multiculturalism. This core of multiculturalism, not only sticking to familiar kind of people, but to be able to walk alongside with people different from you. This is our fifth lesson. Today, modern organizations stress on this openness, but this is nothing new. Have you ever thought who financed the cost of creating Buddhist viharas and spread of Buddhism during the nascent days? The kings and the chieftains still practice Brahminical rituals, so they own finance. It was the traders, because Buddhism advocated openness. It was no longer a taboo for the traders to practice what Brahminical culture prohibited, to travel and trade with foreigners, the males. Santiago thought as he had enough money, before long, maybe by the next day, he would be near the pyramids in Egypt and find treasure he had dreamed in his recurring dreams. At that time, another boy who spoke Spanish entered the bar. Santiago told the boy about his pursuit and also showed him the money. The boy said he could help and took the money to buy camels. Santiago accompanied him. When they were leaving the bar, the owner of the bar tried to stop him, held his hand, spoke something in Arabic, gesturing something and very agitated. In the market, Santiago kept an eye on the new boy. A moment of distraction and the stranger boy vanished in a narrow street of the market. When the sun rose that morning, he was in a familiar place, was still a shepherd. Now, as the sun set, he was in a different country, a stranger in a strange land, where he couldn't even speak the language. He had nothing. Not even the money to return or start something new. He was feeling sorry for himself. Let us pause for a moment and ask, why do you think our shepherd boy had landed up in such a situation? He was in a hurry to get to his goal. He was in such a hurry that he couldn't even gauge the fact that the owner of the bar was trying to stop him. He also, in a hurry to reach the place, totally believed the stranger boy. And here is our sixth lesson. Never be in a hurry. He was feeling so sorry for himself that he wept. But he looked for a sign and touched the precious stones the old king had given him. He remembered that old king also told him to make his own decisions. This remembering was a sign. He smiled, and he no longer felt so desperate. He thought, this is not a strange place, just a new place. He realized that he had to choose between thinking of himself as a poor victim of a thug or an adventurer in quest of his treasure. What I wish to tell you is that don't abandon your dream, but reaching the goal would take time. Be sure that help would be there all along the road. At all points of your journey, the persons will meet will have something that you need at that point of time. As the old man, the king of Salem, said, when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. Like he had also said, it is not that help would appear in form of a person. Sometimes it would be in form of a solution or an idea. Sometimes it is just the ease of doing things. And if you have got something very quickly, be sure that it is not your goal. It may be a distraction, or at best, just an intermediate goal. This is our seventh lesson. Don't abandon your dream. Be sure there will be help on the way, but you will achieve it only when you are ready. You will not get it till the time you are ready. But more on this readiness part when we meet again for the concluding part of the story of Santiago in the book The Alchemist. I promise it will be in next few days. Thank you for listening to me.